All right. We are live once again. And it is Aloha Friday. And this is, let me get this set up so I can see comments. This is the Salty Boomer. And what I do here is scroll X and we get news in real time while we're live. And we talk about it in real time. And that's what I do here. And there's a whole lot going on today on this Aloha Friday. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that no more ballots are allowed to be counted after Election Day. That is really pretty huge. And it really will put a wrench in the gears of the cheaters. Trump goes on Rogan today. And interestingly enough, the timing of this is kind of weird because I think Trump's going on Rogan on a Friday was a smart idea so that it just simmers all weekend. But Israel has started bombing Iran. I just find the timing of that very interesting. All right. So, with that said, let me say one more thing. And this is for YouTube in particular. Everything on this show is complete satire. Nothing I say is true because I am a known liar. These are the rantings of a raving lunatic. Do not trust anything I say because nothing I say is true. Okay, let's get going here and see what we have on X today. Donald J. Trump says Kamala Harris has finally lost the Catholic vote. Well, we'll see, won't we? Barack Obama is in North Carolina. Man, they got this guy out they must be in trouble. They wouldn't have this guy out running around smacking up Trump if they weren't in trouble. And you know what? To be honest, he's where all the trouble started. It was never 80s, 90s, and 2000s. We didn't have the racism that we have now. And there's one man responsible for that, and he is right there. And he's scrambling hard because, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Joe is it's sad, but he's got dementia or something. He doesn't know what he's doing half the time. And then you got Kamala, who they picked because they didn't want to upstand Joe. So they picked a DEI hire who is easily the most incompetent presidential candidate I've ever seen. And they are scrambling. And to think that those are the two best people the Democrats could come up with, that's why this guy is scrambling because, he's really the one in charge. He even said a few years ago that if I could just be in somebody's earpiece and not have to be front and center, that would be the way I would want to run the country. And he's done that for the last 4 years. But he realizes now that that's coming to an end. So he's out there pushing hard for Harris, an empty vessel. It's unbelievable that she's even in the position to be running for president. The Democrats are currently in the process of letting BlackRock steal the land from North Carolina. Yeah, there's always some sort of underlying reason for things that happen. Same thing here on Maui. Megyn Kelly says the fact that the Washington Post chose to commence its "We're not endorsing presidential candidates anymore" 11 days before the election tells you all you need to know about whether this is really about Kamala. Yeah, how and why are news organizations endorsing anybody? Aren't they just supposed to report the news? I mean, it shows they're biased if they're going to pick a candidate. That discredits anything they write, doesn't it? Shouldn't they just be in the middle and not mention anything about? I mean, fine, have your opinion pages and put all you want in there, but as a news organization, you shouldn't be endorsing candidates. That takes your credibility right out the window. Okay, let's see what Robert Kennedy. Petey says this is the most badass post I've ever witnessed. The FDD from Robert Kennedy Jr. The FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides. Peptides are a really interesting topic. Stem cells, raw milk. You cannot get raw milk here in Hawaii. Hyperbaric therapies, chelating compounds, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamins, and most vitamins are owned by Big Pharma nowadays, clean foods, sunshine, exercise, nutraceuticals, and anything else that advances human health and can't be patented by pharma. That's why they demonize these things. If you can't patent them, they can't make any money off them. If you work for the FDA and are part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. Preserve your records and pack your bags. Man, that's the kind of stuff I love to hear. This is quite a team that Trump is putting together. You're going to get RFK here working on public health. Elon Musk working on getting rid of government excess, and he did a fine job of that on X. So we got some exciting times coming if we can beat the cheat. And, we went a long way with that today in that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that no votes are eligible to be counted, no matter what a state law says on a federal election. They cannot be counted if they are received after Election Day. So that's going to put a wrench in the gear of the old cheating machine. House Democrat says Trump campaign has refused to commit to a smooth transition. What? The Hodge twins say the Democrats want a civil war. Raskin said it could endanger the peaceful transfer of power. This guy has been making threats for about 2 weeks now, this Jamie Raskin. Flat out said they're not going to certify the election if Trump wins. He came out and flat out said that. That's why I like X. We're able to actually get the real news now. It's not perfect, but it's the closest thing we have now to free speech online on a platform. YouTube, Facebook, Google, you name it. Everyone except X. Everyone, including TikTok. I had my account Salty Boomer on TikTok last year. I had over 100,000 followers and boom, gone overnight. I was getting a little too close to the truth for them. CNN says Trump may win the popular vote too. Democrat panic is fully setting in. Scott Adams asks, did I just learn the last 2 times Republicans won the popular vote were the son of the ex-CIA head and before that his dad? They know it's coming, folks. Like I was saying yesterday, they make you think, the media gives you illusion that this is a tight race. I'm telling you, it's 80% to 20%. We are the vast majority. Most people don't want LGBTQ and abortion and an open border. That's what the Democrats' platform is: LGBTQ, open border, abortion, and hating Trump. That's their platform. Instead of lower grocery prices, a secure border, rents that people can afford, more money in your check. Trump is talking about ending the income tax. These are the things people are interested in, not if LGBTQ has rights, not if you can kill your baby. No, 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 no. That is not what normal people are interested in. And I'm telling you, it's 80% to 20%. Almost every country on earth requires voter ID. Why not America? Elon Musk asks. He knows the answer to that. But the straight up answer is, if you are against voter ID, it's because you have plans on cheating. There is no other reason possible that you'd be against voter ID. You have to have an ID to get on a plane, to buy alcohol, to do any number of 100 things, if not 1,000 different things, including being involved in these Democrats' events. If you want to take part and go attend one of their events, they make you show an ID, but not for voting. No, no need for voting ID. There's only one reason for that, and that's so they can cheat. Ann Vandersteel says, when Donald Trump wins, it will suddenly be okay to question election results. It will definitely be, they'll claim it's stolen and illegitimate. Jamie Raskin is already saying that they will not certify it. All of a sudden, all the BLM people will appear. All of a sudden, all the Antifa people will appear. There will be riots, looting, and total chaos, the likes of which we've probably never seen before. And Trump doesn't take over until January 20th. So they've got about 80 days or 85 days to wreak complete havoc and chaos on this nation. And you can bet that they are going to do it, and they have plans to do it, because they are going to lose, and they are going to lose soundly. Cernovich says, I know I sound like an old grouch, but gambling and weed really is everywhere it is, isn't it? I don't know, is it? Larry Cook says, medical examiners refuse to ever consider vaccines as a cause of death and never do any tests to confirm or deny vaccines as a cause. Come on, Larry, you know why. Big Pharma has money, more money than any industry ever. And they are the same people that control the food industry. It's very easy to bribe people with money. People will do what they're rewarded to do. They will look the other way in order to enrich themselves. And people think doctors have this high moral equivalency. Not at all. They're just people. They just were able to memorize the indoctrination better than most. And once they have their training, i.e. indoctrination into the Rockefeller Medical Institution, where you're only allowed to go to their schools for your medical education. That's what RFK Jr. is going to take care of. The whole medical industry is going to get turned upside down, put on its head, and never more. And I say, good for it because they control everything, including the doctors that are injecting your babies. And remember, YouTube, everything I say is a complete lie because I am a known liar. This is Michael Maxwell, eldest sacrificed son of Robert Maxwell and the eldest brother of Ghislaine Maxwell. Apparently, he died in a car accident in his late teens. Marina Abramovic sure does resemble him. Yeah, you know, the talk around the club, the conspiracy theory talk is that these people who rise to these positions of power have to offer up their first son. And if he's not sacrificed, then he needs to be transgender. Is that true? I have no idea. But you sure see it a lot. It sure is coincidental that it happens a lot to these famous people. I mean, you decide. A lot of coincidence going on. Probably nothing, though. Okay, who's this guy? Oh, yeah. Seth Rogen. Camilla says, we get it. You smoke a lot of pot. Unfortunately, there are many, many more important things for the president to deal with right now. Yeah, this guy thinks he's funny. He's really just be clowning himself. President Trump just went for 3 hours with Joe Rogan and is now flying to Michigan for a rally that won't start until at least 10 o'clock. And then he will do 2 more rallies tomorrow afternoon. And this is the guy they are claiming is exhausted. Yeah, the media likes to spin the illusion of what they want you to believe. That's why they call it TV programming. And that's why I'm embarrassed for the people in my generation. You know, they watch MSNBC and CNN and they think they're informed. I can't even talk to people in my generation. Very few, very few. They're just so gone, so programmed, so brainwashed, and so indoctrinated, they won't even consider that there could be something else. Won't even consider it. It's crazy how gone they are. Luther says, what has voting ever solved? I'll wait. And you know, Luther, I used to agree with that. I don't vote, and part of the reason is I just live in Hawaii. It's irrelevant. By the time we get to vote, the election's over. And I always used to say voting is the illusion of choice because they just install these candidates like a toilet. They select whichever one. They're both right and left, red and blue. It's all the 2 wings of the same bird, all that kind of stuff. However, this time, I think voting matters just because we can make it too big to rig. You know they're already cheating. There's all kinds of stuff all over online right now. But the difference is we're ready for it. We learned in 2020 what they did. And now people are just documenting everything. And the funny thing for the leftist is if they hadn't cheated in 2020, they would have been done with Trump right now. Trump wouldn't even be on the ballot. He would have been gone and out of politics forever. But, you know, they stole the 2020 election, ran the economy and everything else into the ground, showed people how incompetent they are, and now they're looking at 4 more years of Trump. Everything they touch turns to shit. These people are just dumb. All right, let's see. Larry says, I know I probably should have done this a long time ago, but what are the best links? Okay. Moving on. Can't tell if this is parody or if this dude is the most retarded tranny on the planet. Yeah, that's too long. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. If it was shorter, we'll listen. Brittany Martinez says, I'm a Joe Rogan fan, but everyone fawning over this Trump interview doesn't get it. The right-wing guys can't wait to eat it up, but they're already voting for him. Rogan's audience is almost entirely male. Women will decide to vote. Now, we'll see. I don't know if that's entirely true. I know one thing: most of Rogan's audience is young males who may or may not even bother voting. So I think you got it a little bit wrong there, Brittany. I think women have already decided who they're voting for. I think a lot of young males that listen to Rogan will see that Trump's just a regular guy and he's not this monster that has been created by the illusion of the mainstream media. Barack Obama. Okay, same thing. Naomi Wolf, oh my God, oregano oil. I ate some canned salmon last night, woke up at midnight with food poisoning, too gross to describe. All day I've been horrible. I guess she had some oregano oil and it's all better. Okay. People, it's time to wake up that these are all men. There's some of these ones out there that, I just can't get behind. And I think they're out there just to, they use the term conspiracy theorist to make you sound stupid, to make you sound like, oh, you're just an idiot. And I think some of these conspiracy theorists are on purpose because some people will just fall in line and believe them. And that kind of takes credit away from the ones that may have some validity to them, such as the 2020 election. Okay, here's a guy that has no clue what's about to happen to him. Have you guys ever deep fried a turkey in one of these roasters? They come out fantastic. But I'll tell you something right now. If you're not ready, and I've seen people, have you ever seen what happens when you drop something frozen into a vat of oil? It just goes nuts. And I've seen these where it overflows, and guess what? Right here is a flame from this tank right here. And this guy thinks he's got it all covered with a piece of cardboard down here. I have done this, and I did them outside and still ran into a little trouble once in a while. And all the turkeys we did were, thawed out. We did, I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to exaggerate, but we did over 10 turkeys one time on Thanksgiving. Everyone just came over. It takes 45 minutes. We cook their turkey, and then they go back home with it. That was a great party. Did you early vote yet? Have you guys voted yet? And I think that's why Trump was telling everybody to vote early, because a lot of people have been showing up to the polls and being told they already voted. So the machine is in action. They've had 4 years to perfect it, to make it better than when they did it last time. And people are showing up and being told they already voted. So I think it's better, if you're going to vote, get out there and vote early. All right. Pennsylvania officials have busted a large-scale fraudulent voter registration scheme that includes thousands of applications with the same handwriting, fake signatures, false addresses, etc. So here we go. Laura Logan says, this is how it's done. Stop the steal. They've got it's in action already. Kamala is getting smashed on the campaign, falling behind the polls in early vote, and the mainstream media are beginning to panic. Then Israel decides to begin airstrikes on Iran, 11 days out from an election, and they have English war propaganda videos at the ready. And it also coincides with Trump being on Rogan. They're scared out of their minds here of what's going on. Okay. I'm loving this meltdown. Bezos is smart not to endorse. That's the Washington Post. That's what we were talking about earlier. No news organization should endorse anything if they want to have any of their credibility left. And here's the usual suspects, all a bunch of leftists. just talking about how the Washington Post is just fine with fascism because they didn't endorse communism, which is what the leftists are. And these guys are just all losing it here. Excuse me. Because a news organization won't endorse communism. Trump just wrapped up a 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan. That's talking more about what he's going to do. All right, moving on. It's too bad we couldn't get some excerpts from Trump already. That would be cool to hear right now. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about TikTok. TikTok just banned searching for voter fraud. Democrats steal elections and use censorship to cover it up. How is this not election interference? That's all they have. The only things the leftists have are lies, censorship. What else? Lies, censorship. I think I wrote this down one. Hating Trump, abortion, and LGBTQ. I mean, and now you're banned from searching for voter fraud. Yeah, they kicked me off of TikTok. I had a big following over there. It is quite amusing to watch the Democrats squirm uncomfortably in the realization that they are being beaten again by a fat, orange-skinned, racist Nazi Russian spy who is also a serial rapist and a convicted felon. They went after him with everything they had, including the kitchen sink, and he's still going to beat them. And then Carpe Donktum had to say, note, they believe in those ridiculous things, not me. Otherwise, people would have got all over him. Yeah. Fertilizer? I don't think so. Tim McVeigh? This was an interesting one, too. This was like 4 days before Hillary Clinton was to go on trial for a Whitewater scandal, and all the records were in this building. There's a lot of things kept hidden from us. And remember, YouTube, everything I say in this channel is the ravings of a lunatic. Nothing I say is true because I am a known liar. Kamala's rally. They bust people in. There's an account on X that tracks the cell phones. Kamala's rallies are bust-in people. It's the same 4,000 people at every one. And I'm not kidding. You can follow their cell phones, and they're too dumb to leave them home, so they get tracked. And all the people at the rally tonight are there for Beyonce because it's a free concert. Then they start filing out as soon as she's done. Ryan Fournier says, I had a conversation with the president tonight. He told me we will win this. Well, I would imagine that's what he would tell you. Yeah, can you imagine Kamala going 3 hours with Joe Rogan, that empty vessel that doesn't have an original thought in her head? The most incompetent presidential candidate of my lifetime. Pete Buttigieg. If you're tired of all the chaos, now is your chance to vote to defeat the chaos agent. Right. Pete Buttigieg was in charge of the $7.2 billion that was allocated to build a bunch of charging stations all across the nation. $7.2 billion. You know how many charging stations they've built To date, and this was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, eight of them. There's eight of them. Where the rest of that $7.2 billion go? That's how the leftists launder money. Jake Shields says America has no business fighting in Middle Eastern wars. Israel and Iran can and should fight their own wars. Exactly. We need to return to America first. What business is it of ours? Whatever they want to do in the Middle East, who cares? We have our own oil. We have all our own resources. We don't need the Middle East or anybody else anywhere for anything. America first. It's absolutely ridiculous at this point. And the reason is almost every senator and representative is in the pocket of Israel. They have a political action committee called AIPAC, AIPAC. They are the only nation in the world that does not have to register as a foreign agent giving money to political campaigns. Why is that? Why is that, I wonder? Yeah, 90% of COVID 19 patients on the ventilators die. That's because they run you through the mill there. They were paid, every hospital was paid, and this is another part of Big Pharma, to diagnose you with COVID and then put you on remdesivir, which attacks your organs and pumps fluid into your lungs, in which case a doctor says, oh, he's getting worse. We must put him on a ventilator, which then, finishes you off. And then on the way out the door, they write on the COVID, on the death certificate, COVID, and they get paid again. It was one gigantic scam, and they got paid for every step. Each person netted the hospital over $100,000. Each person. A lot of money involved with the COVID scamdemic. And this is coming from the ravings of a complete lunatic. Everything I say in this channel is satire. Nothing I say is true because I am a known liar. And they're waiting in Michigan for the Trump rally to get started. And of course, the leftists, their ideas to protect democracy, which we aren't, we're a constitutional republic, but they never say that, is to pack the Supreme Court, silence opposition, get rid of the Electoral College, and of course all the other lefties all second that motion. The Harris campaign's Hail Mary plan didn't work. Yeah. What were the claims they put against him this where they said that basically he was literally Trump. What other ones did they have going this week? I can't even keep up with it all. But nothing they've thrown out there has worked. All right. What else have we got going on here today? Simple hack from Wall Street Apes. Everything Democrats accuse the other side of doing, just know they're the ones 100% doing it. They're doing it 100% of the time. Yeah. The thing with the Democrats is their projection is incredibly strong. And what they think is, well, this is what we're doing, so they must be doing it too. But they don't understand that's not how it works at all. It just shows the level of their corruption. Vote early, vote Trump Vance. All right, let's see what else we got going on here today. Oh, Keith Olbermann's always funny. He's one of the biggest idiots on the leftist side. And he says, by the way, this is the least meaningful part of that equation, but the rationalization by the Washington Post publisher was dreadfully written. This guy is a professional or just somebody who moved up the Amazon ladder? Yeah, Keith is one of the ones that is in an uproar because the Washington Post would not endorse communism. Yeah, I do not like the way these, this is called a truck. To me, that's the ugliest truck I've ever seen. Here's another one. I'm a veteran former LA Times reporter and staff writer. For them not to endorse communism is alarming. But for the Washington Post, the paper that broke Watergate, that wasn't even real, those reporters were just puppets for the CIA. They're just in an uproar that these people won't endorse communism. Okay, let's see what Joe has to say here. This one.
Hello, world.
Hello, world.
We just wrapped up a great podcast.
We had a good time. I think you'll find it very interesting and enjoy it.
Okay, well, let's get some clips going on here. That's what I want to see before we get done here. Trump-Hitler tactic is backfiring. That may be red meat for the dim base, but it turns off undecided voters. Okay, let's hear what a undecided voter in Pennsylvania has to say, which I'm very skeptical about this to begin with. I don't know how anyone at this point in this stage could be undecided, but whatever. Let's see what they got to say.
I can't. I think part of the reason why I'm being pushed towards Trump so strongly is that I find that the Democrats and the left just keep going straight to Hitler all of the time with everything. Like it, and if it's not the left pushing Hitler, it's the right pushing Stalin. So it's like we're fighting World War II every single day for every single election. So it's so exhausting. I think it just it pushes me away from their position, and it's so hyperbolic that it makes it impossible to have good discussions, and I think it ruins the discourse.
Does anybody think it's valuable or something you want to hear from the vice president? Anybody? Raise your hand if you think this is something that's important for her to be talking about. Anybody?
No, this is Mark Halperin, another leftist. No, it's not important for anybody. You know what's important for people? Grocery prices, rent prices, a secure border, crime prevention, things that people have to deal with in their everyday lives. Nobody cares that the leftists are calling Trump literally Hitler. And it's mind-boggling. These leftists are in such a bubble that they come up with the ideas and they think they're just brilliant. However, regular people are exhausted with it. All right, let's see what else we can find here. Let's see what this one is.
That decision.
Megastars, powerful PSA against Trump was eerily spot on. All right, let's see what they got to say.
You have an obligation
To be a part of that decision.
You might think it's not important. You might think you're not important.
But that's not true.
And the only way we
Why would these leftist celebrities think that you might think you're not important? It's because they look down on you, because they think you're not important.
can prove that to you is by having lots of famous people.
Lots of famous people.
Lots and lots of famous people.
Just a shit ton of famous people.
But you only get this.
These people who think so highly of themselves and that they think people care what they have to say because they're so-called famous. It's mind-boggling what these people come up with.
Many famous people together if the issue's
One that truly matters to all of us.
a disease or
ecological crisis or
A racist, abusive coward
Of course, they throw the black guy in there to talk about racist.
who could permanently damage the fabric of our society.
Do the math.
Oh, by the way, back in the 80s and 90s, they didn't think he was a racist, and they all hung out with him, including Oprah.
Do we really want to give nuclear weapons to a man whose signature move is firing?
Firing things?
Wow, isn't that clever? He had a TV show that was incredibly popular, by the way, and no one was calling him a racist then, called The Apprentice, but now they use that against him too. They're so disingenuous that and hypocritical that it's mind-boggling.
But we can end this nightmare before it begins.
We can save the day.
For our children.
For our children.
For our children.
For our community.
Uh-oh. It stopped playing. All right. Well, it was kind of vomit-inducing anyway. Scott Pressler. Since I'm trending, I also want to make it clear that I'm not Caitlin Clark or Caitlin Collins. This guy went out on his own and led the Pennsylvania drive for voter registration and did a great job. Dana Loesch just voted Republican. Both of these guys are voting for Trump. A mysterious fleet of glowing UFOs was seen racing through the skies near an Air Force base in Indiana, leaving dozens of stunned onlookers in awe. Well, let's see what we got going here.
See it? Oh. Whoa! Daddy, we see them!
Isn't that the Starlink thing?
What is the world? There's another one right there.
I know.
Who knows what it is? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats bring in the alien invasion, and it's because of Trump next. Anyway, I didn't see much going on there, but okay. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio endorses Kamala for president, and Scott Adams asks, have all the Diddy regulars weighed in now? Part of being in the club, you know, it's the humiliation ritual. An ex-president just sat with the most popular podcaster for 3 hours, conversing with him on the fly. And Kamala, I'm hoping beyond hope that her staffers, her advisors, tell her to go on Rogan next week. I am just hoping beyond hope that that becomes a reality, because she couldn't sit and converse for 3 hours about anything intelligently. That would be, they wouldn't allow it to be put on the air. But I so hope they do it. What is this? Oh, somebody driving down the sidewalk. Okay, well, I think there's stranger things going on. Swirty says, I want to live in a world where grocery stores don't have a health food section because all of the food is healthy. That would be nice, wouldn't it? They got one little section. What does that make the rest of the store? Very true. There are studies that show drinking red wine each night is healthy. Yeah, you know, anytime I hear a study like that, my first thought is who paid for the study? Because if you know who paid for the study, you'll know what the study's most likely to say. Owen Benjamin, comedian, says a ton of Muslim countries are shitholes because people do the so what this law really means is, and then act evil and insane. Or the population accepted open hypocrisy. I'm just saying the laws are great. He thinks Sharia laws are great. From a non-religious point of view, just read the laws. I don't think I want to get into all that. Anyway, Go follow Owen Benjamin. He's got some interesting things to say. All right, let's see what this comment is.
We have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership.
Yes, we do need new leadership. And Israel has just bombed Iran, killing innocent lives. So here we go, Here we go. A little street justice here. A suspected pedophile migrant found hanged in New York Park. We're going to see more and more street justice as we go on here if our so-called leaders and representatives and cops and district attorneys and mayors and governors won't take care of the problem themselves. If they just arrest these people and let them out the next day, that doesn't solve crime. In order to dissuade people from committing crimes, you have to make it so there's true punishment for those crimes. I know this seems like elementary school stuff, but for the leftist, you have to tell them this stuff. And this is what the result will be. People will take things into their own hands. And they're really quick to arrest you if you do that. So what I think is going to happen is going to be roving gangs. People are going to have their faces covered. And it's going to be street justice if our leaders won't do what they're supposed to. Here's an old tree about to go down. That thing is old. Probably pretty hazardous right next to the road there. Okay. All right, this is kind of funny. Here we have two gorillas messing with each other. And Anthony Cumia, who is always talking about this kind of stuff, which Popeyes was this recorded at? They're just like little kids. Another thing too that's kind of funny with gorillas and monkeys and all that, they've managed to be able to teach monkeys, at least they claim, sign language, so that the monkey can do the sign language and understand what the human is saying to him. And I guess they've been able to do that for quite some time. But the interesting thing about that is not one single monkey has ever asked a single question. I don't think we evolved from monkeys, folks. And if they do claim that we evolved from monkeys, why are there no in-betweens? Monkeys, humans, in-betweens. And why are there still monkeys? What, a bunch of them said, nah, I don't want to go be one of those humans that can walk and talk and do whatever they want. I'm going to stay a monkey. All pretty silly if you ask me. Okay, let's see what else is going on. I was really hoping for some excerpts of Joe Rogan, but I guess those aren't going to come out to either later this evening or tomorrow. That's too bad. I was looking forward to finding some of those and going over them while we were doing our broadcast today. Jesse Tarlov calls out Trump's whining for being called an authoritarian. Okay, let's see what she has to say. This is the leftist that is on the program The Five on Fox News. You guys still watch Fox News or anything? I quit watching TV years ago. Best thing I ever did was quit watching TV.
I don't want to use his name in those contexts, but to say that this is something that they are inventing versus that they're getting it from the people who worked for him is absolutely not fair. And I would just say, if you are upset that you're being called an authoritarian, go and take a look at his Truth Social post from right before the show started. This cease and desist letter that he has about prosecuting people he suspects of cheating, and this extends to lawyers, political operatives, donors, illegal voters.
Oh, lawfare.
So why didn't they indict Hillary Clinton when he had the goods on her?
Because there was nothing on her.
Are you kidding?
I am not kidding.
Oh, she didn't have...
It's funny with the lawfare. Let's back up a second on this one. She said something here that I want to go over.
Operatives, donors, illegal voters.
Oh, yeah. She's upset that Trump said that he wants to prosecute people that are involved in voter fraud. She's upset that he wants to prosecute voter fraud. That's the left.
So why didn't they indict Hillary Clinton when he had the goods on her?
Because there was nothing on her.
Are you kidding?
I am not kidding.
Oh, she didn't have any classified documents?
Are you kidding?
She only used her laptop and her phone. Where did she keep the classified documents in the emails?
Who was a Republican,
okay, and already he's talking about Hunter Biden. Donald Trump is trying to make sure Donald Trump is trying to make sure that he heals the country. So don't make it sound like
the country.
Yeah.
I can't even do those shows anymore. It's just such nonsense. Yeah, there we go. What kind of protest is this now? Oh, a shirtless women's protest. Okay, let's move on. We're not finding anything really good and interesting today. Yesterday, there was stuff, all kinds of stuff. Okay, we have another grocery claim. She has 6 packages of organic beef, Irish butter, 2 beef bone broth, 2 dozen eggs, honey, and organic Greek yogurt. Claim $175. Actual $80. Whole Foods $119. Yeah, that doesn't seem like $175 worth no matter where you're at. I think that's just engaged farming for clicks. So I talked yesterday about this poly market where people can bet, real money on who's going to win the presidency. And there's a whole bunch of them. Almost all the betting sites have it. But this one is one of the more famous ones. And the odds of people risking their own money have it 65 to 35. So all the polls you say where it's 50-50, that's just the media giving people the illusion that this is a tight race so they can, when they try to cheat and try to win, they can say, well, we told you it was 50-50, but it's not. 65 to 35, and I say it's actually more like 80-20. Okay, let's see what Scott Adams' Daily Robots Read the News has to say. We have entered phase 3 of the collapsing campaign of Kamala Harris. Phase 1 involved avoiding all human contact. Phase 2 was nothing but word salad and weird faces. And phase 3 is called the Hail Mary phase. It involves pretending Israel can't spot a Hitler. Yeah, like I said, it's mind-boggling that her advisors, they're in such a bubble that they come up with these harebrained schemes of what they think is going to work, and it just turns people off. Anybody that's undecided, which I can't even imagine there are people like that at this point, but who knows, maybe there are. Anybody that is undecided and looks at all this nonsense is just going to go, yeah, these people are crazy. I'm going to vote for Trump. Okay, this is nice. Let's hear this for a second.
This is what we're doing. This is, why we're doing it. Kind of, so it's like so people can like tune in and see real time what's happening. We'll post frequent updates throughout the day. This is what we're doing. Now, like we're definitely going to get some sort of antibody. Probably a big antibody reaction from a lot of sides. But I'm just going to be like, look, assuming President Trump is supportive, that.
I like Elon Musk, and he's a smart guy, and he will get it done, but he has a hard time talking. So Elon Musk on government reduction, we're going to live stream everything we do. We're going to be super transparent. There may be some people who don't like it, but we need to do it. We need to live honestly, and we need to explain why things are being done. There will be no backroom secret dealings. I think that's fantastic, and that's how it should be. That's how everything in government should be. All of it should be live streamed. There should be 0 meetings in the back room. Those people are supposedly our representatives that work for us. We should be able to tune in any meeting, in any conversation, and see what they're up to. That's how you stop government corruption. And that's what Musk is proposing here, and I'm all for it. The FDA, Robert Kennedy Jr. says the FDA's war on public health is about to end. I reread that one earlier. Okay, moving on. I think our RFK is going to do a good job too. We just got to get him in office first. And believe me, if we get him in office and they don't do this stuff, I'll be banging the drums every day, and so will lots and lots of other people, because that's the difference also between leftists and us. The leftists say they're going to do something, never do it, and nobody, the media, nobody ever says a thing, never follows up on it, never asks them, well, what about this? What about that? No. However, on the right, we're going to hold them accountable. You said this, you said that, why aren't you doing it? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what is this? Major voter registration fraud operation uncovered. Okay, we covered that a little bit earlier. That's why Trump said get out and vote early. Hakeem Jeffries, the head of the Democrats, says we will always put the Constitution over the cult. Did he just admit that they're in a cult? I don't think that's going to go over the way he thought it did. And I got something to tell you about the Constitution, too. The Constitution is not there to give you your rights. Your rights are God-given when you're born. The Constitution is there to prevent the government from infringing on your rights that you already have the moment you're born. That's what the Constitution is for. It's not to give you your rights. It's to protect them, being the government, from taking them away. There's my guy. Lamer 33 leg says Trump all the way, and since the Democrats don't want voter ID, I'll be voting for him. I'm Scottish. Absolutely, Lamer 63 leg. Why not, right? Go ahead and send your ballot in now. They probably mailed you one. President Biden says, today, I have the solemn responsibility. Oh, this was... All right, let's see what he said. Well, I have the solemn responsibility to be the first president to formally apologize to Native peoples. He covered this yesterday, too. He's saying this again today. He said this yesterday. Now he's saying it again today. Native American, Native Hawaiian, and Native Alaskan for what happened during the Indian boarding school era. It's long overdue. And once again, here he is. Nobody cares about him. I mean, people care about this, but you know what? You're 12 days from election. They want to know what you're going to do for them. They want to know how you're going to lower food prices. They want to know how you're going to lower crime. They want to know how you're going to secure the border so that jobs aren't taken away from them. What's Potato Head Biden out there doing? Apologizing to Native Americans, Hawaiians, and Alaskans who aren't even mad about anything. This is what I'm talking about, of a bubble that these people are in. Their identity politics, a bunch of DEI hires who have no clue what they're doing, the most incompetent people I've ever seen in my life. We got a MAGA hat behind home plate for game 1 of the World Series. Elon Musk responds to the Democrat claims that Trump is Hitler. Trump was president for 4 years. I don't recall any genocide. In fact, we didn't even have any wars. He was good at avoiding war. See, this is what normal people, this is how normal people think. People in the bubble on the left, they're lunatics. All right, let's keep going here. Here's the Democrats' platform. Pro-abortion up to 9 months. And let me say this about abortion, by the way. For all the people that are for abortion, okay, go ahead and have your abortions all you want. Because the people that support abortion are the people that I don't want to reproduce anyway. They eliminate themselves. For me, that's a win-win. Have at it. People that are against abortions aren't going to get abortions. They're going to have families and they're going to have babies and they're going to raise them correctly. People that want them, go ahead. I don't want you people reproducing anyway. So they're for pro-abortion up to 9 months, pro-vaccine mandates, pro-chronic masking, pro-censorship, pro-war, pro-lockdowns, pro-unsecured borders, and pro-LGBTQ and pro-anti-Trump. Their platform is just crazy. Nothing to do with what normal, everyday Americans want, which is lower prices on their food and rent and everything else in their life. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Democrats are now calling for the imprisonment of Elon Musk. And Keith Olbermann says, immediately. For what, Keith? Having a different opinion than you? And these are the people that call Trump a fascist. The people that are calling for the immediate imprisonment of Elon Musk because they don't like his platform, even though he's on it, and they don't like free speech. These are the people calling you fascists. Roseanne Barr says, while I'm encouraged that everyone is finally seeing just how bad Democrats cheat in real time, last time they denied it for 4 years, I'd prefer it actually stop this time before another coup takes place and America is stuck with another disaster for 4 more years. Yeah. Well, the difference is this year, many more people are aware of what's going on, and many more people are documenting what's going on. And now with the Fifth Circuit's ruling that they cannot count votes after Election Day, yeah, it's going to be hard for them to pull it off this time. Because like I said many times, I think it's 80% to 20%. Okay. Oh my goodness. You got to be kidding me. This woman is getting her cheeks tattooed to make them look redder. I mean, now that never goes away. Why on earth would you do that? Wow. Better her than me. Here's another one. America stands with Israel. Well, guess what, Dan, you traitor? You need to stand with America. All of these guys, all of these people that say this, they come out, America stands with Israel. That's because they're bought off by Israel through their political action committee that does not have to register as a foreign agent. They're the only nation that doesn't have to register. He needs to stand for America first. What is this one now? I don't know what that is. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. It's really too bad that we're not getting some clips of Trump on Rogan. Russell Brand says, to call someone a Nazi nowadays essentially means I deny your right to have an opinion. Exactly. Barron Trump's been advising him. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, they have this down to a science. Accuse your enemy of what you're doing as you are doing it to create confusion. That's exactly what they do. Oh, well, here we go. Is this part of it?
Millions
Is this part of it? Is this the first one here?
is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Okay, right away.
Yeah.
There's no way to misconstrue that.
What does that mean?
Oversight and regulation for free speech is ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
Just that alone, there's no way to misconstrue that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What she was saying is what I was thinking she was saying. She was saying she wants government oversight and regulation for social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's crazy for anyone to want it, because if the only reason you want it, right, is because you agree with the ideological bent of the platform, wait until someone else is in charge of it, or wait until there's a different government in charge.
It's also saying that the very thing that Mark Zuckerberg regrets should be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's essentially saying, why should they have different rules for Facebook than they do for Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what rules? Like,
what rules?
We don't have rules. We have First Amendment rights of free speech.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad they didn't come out earlier. I would have liked to go over some of them. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for today. It's been over an hour. And I want to wish everyone a great weekend, and go ahead and like this video if you want to, and follow me on X. And my boy, Max Holloway, a fellow Hawaiian. I mean, I'm not Hawaiian, but I've lived here for 38 years. But Max Holloway is Hawaiian, and he is in Abu Dhabi fighting Ilia Topuria tomorrow night for the featherweight championship. And I am rooting for Max all the way. And we're going to wrap this up today right here. And hopefully we'll see you again on Monday with a bunch of new stuff that has happened over the weekend and into Monday. Because as we get closer and closer to the election, it's going to get crazier and crazier. All right. Everybody have a great day. And I'll see you Monday. Aloha.